Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. And I've got a brand new episode today for you featuring my friends, Mister Malone. Just dropped a brand new record on Friday. And we sit down and talk all about it. Talk about some of the stories behind these songs and recording and everything else. So hope you enjoy it. Be sure to check out Mister Malone on your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and find their brand new record, Custom Built, wherever you're streaming music at today. Be sure to catch them live Thursday night in St. Louis, Missouri at Old Rock House, opening for Steepwater Band out of Chicago area. Thursday, May 15th, St. Louis, Missouri, Old Rock House, Mister Malone and Steepwater Band. You can find all their information and more at MrMaloneMusic.com. If you need anything else from me, you can always find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Email me, rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode with Mister Malone.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
We're Mister Malone, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
This is beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats is a Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Mister Malone.
What's up?
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is cool. Been I feel like kind of a long time in the making. Like, I know we've recently just been talking about it, but like I've been following along with you guys for a while now. Mm-hmm. We run in a lot of the same circles. Yeah. We've been, like I've seen you guys play a bunch of shows with my friends and stuff. So I've kind of been a fan from afar for a while. And so now it's cool to finally get to properly meet and sit down and do this thing and get to know a little bit more about what you guys have been up to. But
we appreciate it, man. And we're kind of the same. Like even, I come from a cover band background too. So just seeing what you do for the music community, you're always, trying to recognize people who are trying to get somewhere. And there's not many people left that promote live music and bands. So we appreciate the fact that this is even a platform. That's super cool that you do it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's really like how it all started. For like, I just had these friends in music that I felt more people needed to know about, and I started writing a blog for a while, and then not a great writer, but I did it just because it was some sort of media, and that kind of grew into, I'd rather just people hear the music than me telling you like, hey, you should listen to these songs.
Sure.
So I moved, and then podcasting blew up. We were like kind of early adapters. Me and my buddy Chris started the show together. So, now everybody's got one. So it's like, but we started, May of actually be 11 years of doing the show now.
Oh, wow.
So,
right on.
Yeah.
Before Joe Rogan thought about it.
No, I think he was definitely doing it. There was a couple of people that like really inspired me to do it, and not that, but there was like a lot of comedians were like early adapters of podcasting, and So I was like, these guys were just sounding like they were having the best time hanging out with their buddies. And I was like, I want to do that. So
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah. So I was like, I wanted to try to do my best to support my friends here in St. Louis making music. And people seem to be, responding to it and still doing it all these years later. But
thank you. Well, we're grateful for it.
But I guess before we get going too far, do you guys want to properly introduce yourselves for those listening?
Yeah, I'm Cole Kitchen, lead singer and guitarist for Mister Malone.
I'm Devin. I do backup vocals and I play drums.
I'm John. I play bass and whatever else they need me to do. I'm down.
Whatever we want.
Whatever we want. Yeah.
So take me back. I don't know a lot of the origin of it, but I know you guys all have a lot of history together.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about how Mr. Malone gets started.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was kind of always into music because my dad, John, our bass player, was always in cover bands when I was growing up. So I was always around music all the time and sitting and listening to his rehearsals and all that kind of stuff added up to me wanting a guitar in like 5th grade. And he was like, if you get good grades on your report card, I had to work for it. So ended up doing well and got the guitar and kind of fell in love with it ever since then. And I believe right around that time, my brother picked up the drums as well. And kind of after that, we both kind of learned our instruments separately. But once we got to a comfortable point, we started playing like AC/DC and classic songs together and just seemed to be a lot of fun. And then ended up just being a hobby, but realized how much we loved it individually and playing together. So we're like, you know what, why not take this check and try to cash it in, man? I mean, we love doing it, so why stop? And then kind of just formulated into a group over time with different guys playing with different people and, just turned into something per se.
So Mr. Malone is like your first band?
Yeah,
real band?
it's really the first band I've ever even been in. But me and my brother, like I said, I would just play guitar and he would just play drums and didn't even think about singing for a long time, really. And then got into singing, and then we were going to open mic nights for a while, just trying to, get networking and stuff like that. And ended up meeting a guy who played guitar and then asked him to play bass for us for a while. And he did that. And then COVID hit, unfortunately. So that kind of set us back.
Sure.
But yeah, so we're just trying to keep the tracks and go 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I guess there was an opening in bass and.
Yeah. So like me and Devin were just jamming together. And then as we were going to these open mic nights, we found someone who was Nick, who was fluent in guitar. And I was like, well, we're looking for a bass player if you want to jam with us sometime. So we jammed a couple times with him. He learned the songs that we kind of already made up, just me and my brother together. And then started just playing open mic nights, hoping to get a gig at one point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when's the conversation turn to dad?
Sure. Yeah. So we ended up having to get a different bass player, just someone that was more invested per se. So my dad was, I believe, I don't know if you stopped playing in a cover band at that time or what was going on.
I was still playing it. It was really a weird scenario because they had some momentum. They had recorded an album called Priorities and just some good songs. And I was elated, like, to watch my sons, get this talent. They're both such good musicians. And I watched COVID hit and just put the brakes on,
right?
And then they had parted ways with their previous bass player, and he's a phenomenal player, but just he's on the stuff that fits him better, that he likes. And so I'm watching them kind of figure out, okay, well, what are we going to do? And the world kind of shut down for a while. Venues weren't having anything. Like, it was really a tough sell. And so finally, it's been about almost 3 years ago. I think June will be 3 years. I'm a drummer, I play guitar enough to not be considered a guitar player, but, but I thought, I love anything that is rhythm section. And I was like, I think I can do this. So I said to them, I go, hey man, how about I just learn all your songs and let's play. Like, get the opportunity to play some shows, if I'm up to it, if I can do this. And I go, and you can use me as a stepping stone. Like if you find somebody to take my place, like that won't hurt my feelings. I just don't want to see you guys sit stagnant. You're too good to let this sit here. And so the band I was in, New Year's 2 years ago, we decided, hey, we're done. That was our last show. So that was 23, I think. So I decided that I would just put every effort I had into being as proficient of a player as I could. And we started, they had songs written and I would start writing parts and just watch these parts evolve. And finally, here we are playing a show, 2 years ago, June. At Red Flag, I think was our first show. I've never been so nervous in my life. I've been able to hide behind a drum kit forever, and just being right there. And now I have electronics that can fail that I don't know. And it did, it's like, it was such an eye-opening experience that gave me so much respect for even guys I had been in bands with that are out there vulnerable, and so time went on and I learned their material, worked on these songs, and then we kind of started writing together to an extent. Like Cole and Devin have always been lyricists, but we were the second half of this album, I felt like we wrote as a unit more. We were all involved with melody lines, for instrumentally at least. So it became one of those deals. I think it might have been Devin one day. I always gave them an out. I never wanted to feel like I was taking over their band. And the beautiful part for me is like playing bass, like I can take a back seat, like I can show up and do my job. And, but I never wanted them to feel like obligated. Like I didn't want them to hurt, you're not going to hurt my feelings. And one day they're like, dude, like stop saying that. Like you're in, like you're not going anywhere. And it was really cool. Just because they're twins and I'm their dad, there's a genetic connection there that just works. And Devin, man, you can set a clock to him. His time is phenomenal. So getting to play with somebody who has a pocket as a bass player is great for me. And on top of it, I was forced to step up really fast, because they're really freaking good. And if I looked like some sloppy hack, it's going to be visible. And I don't know if it was Cole or Devin, one of them, I've always been in my head. It's like, I can't do some of these things. And it's like, well, you don't have to be able to do everything. You just have to be able to do what we need for the song. And so here we are, at this point now with the second album. So I wasn't on anything on the first, but I was on the For the Win EP and Custom Built. And it's just something that I'm just really proud of. One, because I think the material's great. Two, because there's a piece of time that's etched forever. And it's with them.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool, man. Just the fact that it's something you guys get to do together is like, it's just, it's exciting. It's fun to see. It's like, we, growing up, like, for me, like we kind of, we joked about having the family band thing. Like my dad played a little bit of guitar and harmonica and stuff. And then like me and my brother, we didn't really play instruments, but we would sing and like we have these like Sunday jam sessions at the house kind of thing.
That's
and like,
awesome.
and start playing these songs and stuff. And like, for me, I always, the memory is attached to it as, Ozark Mountain Daredevils, Standing on a Rock.
Sure.
And, so like, that's what I imagine. That's what I hear us performing, but, it never went any farther than that room. But, to see you guys, obviously we got the brand new record on the way. We got all these big shows and everything, and like really doing it as a family, is really cool to see. So
yeah.
I was embarrassed of it, honestly, at first. Like,
Well, if like right off the bat, your mind goes to cringe. You know what I mean? Because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to be one of those dudes where you're like, oh, I don't want to hear it. It's like nails on a chalkboard, you know. But thankfully, it didn't work out that way. Thankfully, we're all good enough musicians to hold our own, you know. So,
well, no, I mean, I was more embarrassed about like being their dad.
sure.
Like I didn't want to drag them down. Like, who's those two dudes with that old guy? And you know, and it's funny, the very first show that I played, he's like, you know, Cole's announcing guys in the band. He's like, I'm Cole Kitchen. This is my twin brother, Devin. And that is my father. Like, it's like Darth Vader.
I could have swore afterwards, you're like, don't do that again.
Yeah. I was like, you know, I didn't want to drag them down, but I'm very fortunate that I have fairly youthful genetics. So it kind of blends in, you know, they're old enough now, they're 27. So like, it doesn't look that out of place. I don't have a big gray beard, so I think we're okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what about Mister Malone? Where does the name come from? Who is Mister Malone?
You want to explain that?
I mean,
Devin?
to explain it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess, it really happened to you. So,
I guess I'll explain then. So we were on, obviously, as you know, he was in a band called Bitter Pill with Steve Malone, Jeff Braun, and Randy Quick. I can never say his last name.
Nobody can.
Kruklinski?
Starts with a K, ends in a ski.
Sorry, Randy, but
Krusleski.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was scrolling on Instagram and there was just a really cool photo of Steve, the guitar player, and he was like looking down at the photo, like at the camera, you know, with his hair in his face and the Les Paul and stuff. And it just said Mr. Malone under it. And I was like, it was written MR Malone. And I was like, interesting. That'd be a really cool kind of band name. So we were like, we'll just make it MISTER Malone just to make it different, you know? So yeah, we just kind of ran with the idea and it stuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like a Leonard Skinner situation or something like that, where it was like
sort of, kind of, yeah. Just not the gym teacher.
That's yeah, just a dude in my band, and he's just a sweet guy. And you know, he obviously they told him this is how we came up with that. And I like it.
Yeah, it works. Like, I mean, that's the naming anything is hard.
Yeah,
picking a name and then just running with it. Like, obviously, we've struggled naming this show, and like we just put a list together and asked our friends to help us pick one, and this is the one they picked. And so, again, 11 years later, I'm still going with it. I'm like, it works, It's like, so
heck yeah.
We just embrace it and make it what it is. And then, people now, once you get out there, like you get past the initial, is this cool or not kind of thing. Like once you get past it, then you're just like, all right, whatever. It's, it's our name is what.
What it is.
Yeah.
There's some whimsical like anonymity about it that I like.
Yeah.
And it's just like, even the way the logo is playful. Like I've seen bands have to change names that have gotten signed or, whatever. And it's like, I look at that and the first thing I told them, I'm like, okay, I'm trademarking this because I want to be, so we did. So it's like, okay, now at least we know, this is ours and
won't be a Pearl Jam dilemma.
Right. Exactly. Right. And it's just, I've always thought since it came naturally, it just feels right and it flows.
And
well,
that's the main thing too. It's got to feel right. That's one of the big things. Yeah. It's got to be sentimental to you, like no one's going to support something called Big Knuckleheads.
You'd be surprised.
I was going to say the Butthole Surfers, dude. Like who would have thought?
All right.
Right.
Well, we got, a big record on the way on Friday, May 9th, titled Custom Built. And we're going to give you a little sneak peek of what you guys have been working on. And so I think let's start with the title track, I guess. This is currently getting maybe some play on the Viper, you said you're going to give us.
Yeah, we'll be on the Viper, which is the 5th, I believe, Monday, the 5th, and they'll run that track. They're letting us, we have a show May 15th they're going to help us promote, and they've always been super kind to St. Louis music and original scenes. So Brennan's been a good buddy of mine, helped me out a couple of times, promote some things. So it's nice that he allows me to get on the air over there. And we're grateful for it, man. It's just like, we just want the visibility, but I think this track, I dig it. And I think it just speaks volumes about both Devin and Cole to me. You know, they are their own animals for sure.
You guys have anything around you want to add around custom built? Is there anything why this one became the title track or anything? Or
It just has that
Just life, I guess. Going through, certain situations in life. I felt like custom built was almost like a way of like, I'm breaking out of what these past years have given me, and I'm custom built. I'm not like anything else. So I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to go with it. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah. It's funny because we co-write a lot together, and that was one that we did. And it's like, to me, a lot of the songs have two meanings because of that reason. Like, I look at custom built, one from a relationship perspective and from an individual perspective, because it's like, there's sometimes in life where you can't relate to anything, or you don't you just feel different than everybody else, just that kind of mystical, I don't know, it's a weird feeling, but a lot of the songs have that two separate meaning to them, which I think is pretty cool as well.
Yeah. Nice. Well, let's take a listen to Custom Built. Well, one thing I noticed right away listening to this record is it sounds fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks.
Really impressive. Just, songwriting, performing, and the audio quality, like everything is top notch. So, you guys record here in St. Louis, or where do we do this at?
We did. Was it prior? Or are we talking about custom built?
Yeah.
The record.
So we did that at Encapsulated. Yeah.
Yeah. Gabe Usery
Nice,
is
yeah.
who engineered that record.
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
I love Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe's awesome.
We worked with him on the first record as well.
Yeah, he did the first record. The first record with them, they really just kind of laid it down, and we didn't. I say we. I wasn't in the band then, but they didn't. That wasn't a hey, let's make a real run at this, And this album definitely sounds more polished. A lot more work went into it, just from us being prepared, from knowing how we want things arranged. And Gabe's really good about giving you some creative freedom. And, we're like, hey, man, just if you hear something or have an idea. And so he really helps from that standpoint. You never feel like, he's not producing you. He's engineering but he's got a good ear and has a really good ability to kind of point out, hey, let's try the fifth on this harmony, or what about I think, it's on Custom Built, the hand claps in the end. We wanted to do them, and the way he laid them out, the way they go through the whole end of the song, we were all listening to it for the first time. And we're like, genius. Perfect. He let him go the whole time. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Sure.
And then some friends of mine are in a band called And They Rise, and we were trying to decide, what are we going to do for who's going to master this? And so they had recommended Bryson Heilman. He's Windsor Sound out of Canada. And so he mastered this album. And he did a really good job. This album is kind of a weird scenario because it's actually a mesh. So a gentleman that we opened up for a few times, Anthony Gomes, just a sweetheart of a guy. He came to us at a show and we were talking. He goes, man, you guys should be huge, but nobody knows who you are. And he goes, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, how do we figure this out? And he was gracious enough to have a sit down with me for like an hour and a half. We had met for dinner at the bread company, and, he's just pouring information out to try to help. And he did that because somebody had helped him, and one thing that he recommended as we're talking, he's like, wait a minute. So you have 6 songs in the can right now, and there's 13 total. I'm like, well, yeah. He goes, well, dude, just release 6 as an EP, and then when you're ready for the album, put them all in, the proper order. Like, then release it as a full. So part of this album is the For the Win EP. Like this, the idea is, to just sit on something forever. Like, we want people to hear it.
Right.
I don't want to sit on music forever. And I thought it was a good idea because now there's 7 new songs on top of that. But this album plays well. So if you listen to it from front to back, the order of the songs kind of have this roller coaster of emotion, for lack of better words, because it just kind of takes you on this journey. And I think it really tells a story about them, and to me, it's funny that we talk about Custom Built and the last song on this album is called Who I Am. And I'm proud to be part of it. I think it's really cool, but we're pretty stoked about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned it. Let's just talk about it. There's one we wanted to leak out there. I'll give you a little glimpse. This is closes out the record, and they'll be available on all your streaming platforms on that same Friday,
the 9th.
The 9th, right?
Yeah.
But what do you guys want to tell us about?
Who I am is I feel like kind of another one that was generated, like co-wrote with me and Devin. Who I Am is just about, one, I think, standing out, just being recognized for who you are, and the other part of it is like a almost like a foreshadowing of the problems that you had in a relationship. That's kind of the two vibes that I get from it. But
trusted me for who I am. Contemplate staying with you. We are not the same. Just walk away. Those things that you say don't mean a thing. Just when my voice makes a sound, the truth is told, you're upside down. You say that it's over. Trusted me for who I am, knowing it's close to the end. You say there's problems around me. Trusted me for who I am. Just when my voice makes a sound, the truth is told, you're upside down. You say that it's over. Trusting me for who I am, knowing it's close to the end. You say there's problems around me. Trusted me for who I am.
The cool thing about music is it's like Dave Grohl said, you could have 1,000 people listen to one song and they could all feel a different way about it. So it's
Sure.
it's nice to know the reason why, but at the same time, I almost want to make it
Yeah.
a little puzzle for them to put it together themselves too.
Maybe they have a better idea.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I often ask, I'm a fan of songwriting, and then I don't always ask you, like, I'm not always looking for you to spell it out. Like,
Sure.
maybe stories that where you were at when that maybe inspired you to write this kind of thing. But yeah, there's sometimes your own interpretation of it is better than when somebody actually tells you the real, hey man, they tell you some terrible story that goes with it, and you're like, well, that takes away from whatever the thing I created.
Sure. Exactly.
That why I like this song. But so that's kind of the thing is like it goes both ways, I think, as a fan and as a songwriter and stuff. So, but I do. I mean, there's certain songs that I enjoy that they maybe not spell it out, but give you a background, a story to go along with the song and stuff, what the feelings they were going through or something at the time. And
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I enjoy all that, and as I think that's what's. I did a songwriter series for like 3 years until COVID, and that was some of my favorite stuff. Is just songwriters sitting on stools with guitars telling their stories, and and just stripped down acoustic stuff like that. And
That's cool.
it was really a lot of fun. And so it's like I like songwriters a lot.
I think it's important too to give somebody the ability to find a way to connect. Like
For sure.
There's songs. It's weird. There's certain songs that it's either like a melodic progression or a chord progression that just hits you. And it doesn't even matter if they're, I believe Dire Maker has a whole lot of nonsense in it.
Sure.
People kind of dig that. So like, I don't even know necessarily sometimes it's what you're saying, that how that comes across, but you hear people talk about, man, that song, nobody said this to us yet, but people have said, hey, this song got me through something or whatever that case may be. And, it's because they found whatever that was that allowed that song to speak to them. And that's, for me, I don't really participate in any of that. Was a big thing for me. I didn't want to step on the chemistry that I felt like they had. The way they write, how Cole phrases things, I think is different than most musicians. And I like that. And I never want to, change how that works. So for me, I get to hear this for the first time too. I get to hear these lyrics as he sings them. Like he's not running by me going, hey, what do you think we should do? Yeah. What rhymes with anonymity? Like, I don't know, dude. So it's like, So I get to interpret these just like anyone else. And so I find reasons that for me that I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Well, it's even interesting as a songwriter because like sometimes you don't know what the song means until a couple of years go by. You know what I mean? And you're like,
that makes sense.
That's what I meant.
It's like a dream.
Yeah. Like you're really pissed off at your day and you write a 2-page poetry, whatever. And then you sit on it for a while, maybe come up with a guitar riff. And then next thing you know, you're listening to the song 2 years later and you're like, that makes a lot of sense why I wrote that,
Yeah.
Devin, how much stuff do you like when you guys are going through songs? Are you interjecting? Like, because I know there's some stuff that you're like, I wrote all that. Like, there's songs that you've written.
Yeah, well, it just depends. It's just like, I don't know. I guess what you'd hear one of those things if something comes to you and you just kind of, it either comes to me and I just write it all out, like playing with Ice Cubes on the last record. Like that just, I knew I could hear the guitar in my head, like everything. So I just wrote the whole thing out. You
dictated the music essentially. And
for that. I would just take. He was at work, and he sent me a voice recording, and it's just his voice. All you hear is right. Play something like that on your guitar, and I was like, okay. And then he's like, yeah. And then he sends me like him humming the melody, or something like that. And then I'd get on the computer real quick and try to put it all together and be like, send it to him. Is this what you're thinking? Almost, just kind of go back and forth that way. But there's a lot of times where I'll be like, yo, dude, I wrote the first verse and the chorus to this. Put the second verse in there. Just because it'll change up the story too. Like, you don't want like
different perspectives.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's just interesting. Like you hear how they wrote Riders on the Storms, The Doors, and there's a killer on the road. It took a completely different turn.
Yeah.
And it's because he didn't want the whole song to be about love. You know what I mean? So I find it interesting that songs can do that.
Do you think being twins impacts that for you guys?
Well, yeah, because we kind of like, he's seen, we're together 24/7. So it's like he's seen stuff firsthand, what I've been through. I've seen stuff firsthand.
We have similar life experience per se. So it's
almost like a different version of you is taking
it's
over
a different perspective. And there's been times where I've been like if we're like trying to get a riff down or something, I'm like, yo, let me play the drums and you try to come up with a riff and just put it together that way. We'll see what we can do. But yeah.
You guys ever do any of that like on the live show, like all trade instruments or anything?
No, not usually.
No,
usually we try to.
I think that's kind of folk.
We can't replace each other.
I think that's corny, man. Like, show up, play your show.
Yeah.
You don't need to know if we can play anything else. Like, it's not about. Look at us. We can play other instruments. Who cares? Like,
it is.
Let's just go rip it up.
I think it's unique, but at the same time, I can't fill y'all's shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no way I could do that.
I'll tell you, I went to a Kid Rock show. Not because I like Kid Rock, but Randy, who I was in a band with, had box seats right next to the soundboard. Nice. I'm like, I've never seen this. Let's see what's going to happen. Yeah. And he was a good entertainer, except for the part where that happened.
Yeah.
He tried to play every instrument on stage. And I'm like, dude, great for you, but it was a show killer for me. So I've always kind of been shied away from something like that.
So you've looked at it more from a consumer type. Okay.
Yeah, I look at it more like when I see that happening, it's like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
You're satisfying, most of the time, it's satisfying somebody in the band's ego, or I want to sing a song, or I want to do, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's corny, but that's me.
There's been I can see where you're coming from for sure. But like in the moments like seeing Sully from Godsmack get on the kit and have like a drum battle.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Or Taylor and Dave and Foo Fighters going back. You know, it's like
that's cool,
those kind of moments. Like
those two have their own.
Right.
Like Taylor and Dave, I'm going to give a free pass.
Yeah, for sure.
Sully, I could care less.
Right. But you know, it's just like I think some of it, you know, is like the fact that it is sort of a shock. Like I think in an average fan doesn't really suspect that the bass player is that good of a drummer, or the singer is that good of a drummer, or whatever, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So so when you see it, you're like, oh shit, I didn't know. You know,
I do dig it when it's like different. Like if all of a sudden the keys player picks up a trumpet, I'm like, oh, that's sweet, that's awesome. You know, so I do believe like if there's other instruments that need to be played, and you realize that cat just played 4 of them.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Sure.
And also sonically it adds to the music. But if you're a 3-piece band and you're just playing, you know, musical chairs, that's foolish to me, you know, but you know, that's my own opinion.
Yeah. It is cool. Like, just I've seen, Andy Frasco and his band, they occasionally, I mean, this is just a wild party with those guys, but they all will trade instruments. Like they'll where they just like somebody, it's not just like for the whole song, but like they'll do like a jam thing where they're just like all running in circles, grab something, and except for the saxophone player, they don't switch with him. But
and that sounds cool though, right?
Yeah,
like,
that sounds cool.
I get it from like a party, like that sounds like very unpretentious. That sounds like, hey, let's mix it up. Like that's fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? I guess it just depends on the scenario.
Sure. It's even more interesting too, because like if you think about it, like if they all change instruments, technically it's a different band because they all have different perspectives on 100%. Their instruments, you know? So it's,
wow. And I don't play drums like Devin plays drums.
Yeah. Right.
He's way better than me. So it's
one way to put it, I guess.
No, I mean, it's just like our field's different. Yeah. So 100% you're right. You know, if that happens.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like I said, I don't, you know, not that, you guys need to do any of it, but it's just, it's fun to see I think sometimes, but sometimes it can be, maybe the Kid Rock example is where maybe Kid Rock should just stick to.
I think it all depends on the circumstances. The more we talk about it, maybe I retract my statement a bit, and it's just it could be cool, depending.
But I've also thought it like it's, you know, I remember seeing this the Greyhounds, and they're they play as a 3-piece, but they sometimes will play as 2. And it's when they play as 3, it's a drummer, lead guitar, and keys. But they use like having these like killer bass lines, and then I'm like, where is that? And then I realize he's
keys player.
He's doing leads with one hand and bass lines with another hand, and singing. And I was like, dude, like you freak, man. Like,
that's crazy.
I don't know how those
you
guys
see dudes with like old B3s, you know, with bass on your feet too.
Right.
So you're playing left, you know, bass on your feet. Like that's nuts. You think about drums being ambidextrous, right? You're using all 4 limbs, but now you've got keys players using all 10 digits plus feet. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't play anything. So seeing like somebody play, you know, multiple instruments or doing, you know, multiple things at once like that, like is, you know, just blows my mind sometimes.
Not only does he have one power.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
This is an easy, you know, St. Louis is weird to me. The music scene has changed so much as long as I've been around, but I can tell you, I can pretty much go anywhere and be humbled at any time. Like there's some phenomenal players around here that you'll just watch and be like, that's crazy. You know, that's right here in our own backyard. And it's so easy to overlook, but you know, well, like I said, one of the things you do is highlight that. So at least you can look on one place and find out, hey, there's 90 people playing tonight. Where do we want to go? And
we are blessed to have world-class talent all over the city that most of them, are your neighbors and they're not your, household name, but you go, like I said, you can go walk in almost any bar around town and you're like, this guy's so good. Like, how,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't know why the ones that break through, what makes the, difference. But, it's like, it's one of those things, trying to figure that out. But
yeah, that's been our dilemma, forever, trying to figure out how do you create any visibility at all? Like, how do you create any sort of traction? And
I think there's like more, music being uploaded on, Spotify every day that,
it's crazy.
Like, than there's ever been. So it's like hard. How do you get your band to stand out, throughout all of
yeah.
That's tough.
We don't know, man.
Right.
I mean, and that's the weird thing. Like, and this is a weird town too, from that perspective. Like, if you look around, from what I see anyway, and maybe I'm removed, but dude, everything is covers and tributes. Every time I turn around, a new tribute band is coming up. And I never understood it until I joined this band. I had played in one original band that technically wasn't even an original band for me, because I just took the old drummer's spot. It was like a cover band still, but you go out there and regurgitate somebody else's parts night after night. And you do it because the energy with the guys you play with and the crowd, like that makes you get through it. Nobody wants to play I Want You to Want Me. They just don't. But you do because everybody's having a good time, which makes you have a good time. And I don't mean offensive Cheap Trick by that. That's just the reality.
Sure.
And so as you become an original artist and you have so much more invested in this music, and then you're like, man, listen to this. And somebody's like, well, no, because I'm busy listening to another band play Cheap Trick again for the 450th time. Like, it's just a really weird dilemma to be in. And honestly, around here, there's just not very many places that support original music. There's a few places that are downtown, and that's getting tumultuous, and then finding bands that you want to play with or that you have aligned values or ideals. And then you get into the whole next avenue of, metrics, well, why should we have you here? And nobody wants to hear what you sound like. They just want to know, can you bring people through the door?
Right. Yep.
Because there's money involved. I get that. And then even reaching out above, we've been very fortunate. We got to play the Factory in St. Louis. That was really cool. Zebra had us on for that. They had us on a show in Chicago at the Arcada. And they had us on a show in Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. And so we've had some visibility, but the demographic is mostly people that don't contribute to any sort of push from a social metric. So 0, you get nothing out of that but a good time, which we're grateful for. Like, if this is all we got to do that. And that's pretty cool. But we just want to play. Right. And that's the biggest thing. It's like, we talk about these, hey, how do we play some shows? And the weird thing about St. Louis, and I've talked to another friend of mine's band who actually did get signed, and he goes, don't play in St. Louis anymore. And that's disheartening, because you would hope to get some support, but realistically, anyone that I feel like I've talked to said, look, nobody will care about you until they want to say they went to high school with you. Yeah. Like, go find it somewhere else and then you can come back. But even then,
Yeah, I've never understood that, but it is accurate. We've seen it firsthand with like The Urge and, and so on. Like, I mean, like they left and made it and then came back and then everybody's just excited about them. Like, that, they're home. They're from St. Louis, It's like you get to start saying that. And, Nikki Glazer is like become one of the biggest comics around and from St. Louis. And I remember going to see her at shows that, she did well, but like she went off and made it on her own. And then now she comes back and sells out theaters and stuff. And
right.
It's like, but
it's crazy, man. You want that support. It's like having parents that don't love you. It's like, what do you do? and it's weird to think that you have to go outside of that. But we're always the type of the people that we want to play with bands that force us to kick it up a notch, like we better step up because these dudes are good. We don't want to embarrass ourselves. And I like to have that sort of pressure, and I feel like they do. They're really good under those circumstances. And oddly enough, the bigger stages, to me, I thought I'd be really nervous at that factory show. And it was so comfortable. I mean, we're here in our hometown. It wasn't sold out, but they had a good crowd that night, and it just felt right, I don't know. I just came home the next day and go, how do we do this again tomorrow?
Yeah, right.
And so we'll reach out to any management company. There's really not many people booking shows per se. There's, booking agents, but it's a conundrum, dude. And like you said, there's new music coming out like every 14 seconds that's either made by a person or generated by AI. And, how to be seen in this. The only thing we can pray is that somebody hears it and shares it. That's the thing, right? If you have a good meal, you tell your friend, hey, dude, we just ate. I had a place called Bezzettas. It was the best sea bass I've ever had. I've told people about it, and we kind of hope our music does that. But that's out of our control. All we can do is make it. But I always tell them, I go, if we fail, I want it to be because they hated it, not because they didn't hear it. and that's I want to give you the opportunity to hate us or love us. Sure. And that's all we're asking for.
Well, we got a big one coming up. You guys getting to share the stage with Steepwater Band on May 15th, a Thursday night at Old Rock House in St. Louis, Missouri. One of my absolute favorite rooms. It's a great space, and the crew that runs it is all top notch. So that'll be a cool space for sure for you guys to get loud. And Steepwater Band, those guys are a lot of fun too. So it'll be a great night, and tickets available right now. So head over there to Old Rock House. Yeah,
doors are at 7. We go on at 8. So we're 8 to 8:45, and then Steepwater's at 9.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool because even as long as we've played in St. Louis, I've never played in that venue before, so I'm really looking forward to it.
I've only done it once, and it was in a cover band for a private event. So I've never got to do it under real circumstances. I think they were all on the patio drinking. I don't even think I think we played to 9 people. So this will be fun. But you can find more from Mister Malone, including upcoming dates on you got MrMaloneMusic.com. You can follow along on Facebook and Instagram, and smash that subscribe button on YouTube. That's what I say, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. But we got one more from Custom Built. And this is one I picked that I connected with. I thought it sounded really good. And this is titled Look Both Ways. I really, the whole song's great, but I really like the ending. Kind of like that false ending you guys do on it.
For sure.
I just thought it was cool. There's a lot of different ways to end a song and stuff. But I thought that was fun to bring it back for one more. For me, it just feels a little nostalgic, and it's kind of a throwback to all the bands that we grew up with. And so it's a tribute. I feel like a tribute to the classic rock bands that did it before us.
For sure.
So that's a cool way to put it. I like that.
Yeah, me too. I just like how it's kind of like a story, it starts and it ends almost with the same thing. It's just a different way per se. But
I just like it because it's super tight. Everybody's on that riff, and then it's just dead air.
Yeah.
And then we're all right back in it.
Yeah.
And that's the one song playing live is cool. I noticed the cheers between those two, it kind of gets you pumped for the next song.
For sure.
I love that part of that song too.
Yeah.
That's cool that you connected with that.
Yeah. So take a listen to Look Both Ways, due out May 9th.
Catch myself daydreaming about what I wanna do. My wasted time isn't all I've had to lose. I've got a full-time job not running wild and loose. The war is on, don't you look at the news. Grab my stuff, I really wanna go. Grab your shit and let's hit the road. It turns you on in a wild way. We ain't got time to look both ways. We're sailing through the desert, gonna have a toony trip. Seems like a perfect spot to lose your grip. You're crawling on my skin now as the earth starts to tip. We're back around, now we're looking at the ground. Grab my stuff, I really wanna go. Grab your shit and let's hit the road. It turns you on in a wild way. We ain't got time to look both ways. Grab my stuff, I really wanna go. Grab your shit and let's hit the road. It turns you on in a wild way. We ain't got time to look both ways.
Thinking about also, like, you guys obviously, rooted in kind of that classic rock sound. I feel like kind of putting your own twist on some of it, but just I feel like so many people today, kind of say that we're like rock is dead, like they're where we, and I just feel like anybody that says that doesn't know anything about music. Because
I like how you think.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, you obviously there's pop, does really well, and all these other places, you look at all these festivals and things, but I mean, I see so many of my favorite bands are doing big numbers, and they're rock bands. They're still, it might not be what it once was, but it's definitely not dead.
Yeah.
But I love Rival Sons, Tyler Bryan and the Shakedown, and I'm like, I mean,
those are both great. I actually saw both of those bands together at the Cannery in Nashville.
I was there that night.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tyler
that's
opened
good.
up. That's man. It's not dead,
Right?
And that's just, sometimes I'm curious, and they can probably really enlighten you, but like, we both grew up the same way. So I grew up, my dad was a keys player, my mom was a singer. So just like them, I was around music all the time. My dad would play piano. He'd be playing like Barry Manilow or something, you know. But we always had it. It was always around. There was always an instrument to grab and get your way through. But the way they write and they think, they've had such a vast amount of artists that I haven't introduced. Like, they've introduced me to things. I was never a fan of the Doors. Quite honestly, I'm like not a huge fan of the Doors still, but they dig it. Yeah. And you know, it's interesting what musically their palette has developed into, and they can probably tell you more on that. But I've always been kind of impressed by, you know, at one time I was listening to Slim Harpo. I like this guitar player called J.D. Simo. Just a really feely, great player. And
he's so good.
He is, man.
He was on the Elvis movie, and he's going to be on, what's the new movie they're coming out with? Can't think of his name. Dang it. But
it'll come to you.
He's doing the guitar for that movie as well.
He has an interesting story. If you ever got the time, check him out. But he was basically homeless and then got on with the Don Kelly band, you know, playing like Wednesday nights on Broadway, and dude just rips. But the thing about him that I thought was really interesting was, you know, the guy's just this super feely, you can see on stage, you know, you can see he belongs there. And I went to tell him he was saying these blues artists that inspired him. And so I started listening to him, and I'd go to Cole. I'm like, hey dude, have you ever heard Slim Harpo before? And Cole's like, yeah, that was actually an influence for Keith Richards. Like, and I'm like, how the hell do you know all this, man? And right. Like the rabbit holes they go down, I'm impressed with their taste, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's, a lot of how I'll discover a lot of stuff like backwards. You know, you find like that example, like you like the Stones. Well, you find out Stones were influenced by these guys, and and they go and dig through their records and stuff, and that's cool. Like, you know, with everything now, we have it instantly at our fingertips. We can punch
catalogs.
Yeah, so it's like instead of having to go digging through trying to find these records, they're all readily available in seconds. So it's like it's really an exciting time to be a fan of music. But as far as, you know, being a fan, like, I think it's I know it's hard for the artist making, you know, pennies off of Spotify plays, but I would hope that, you know, the way I often do is like, if I like it, I buy it, and I'll go. I'll support a lot of my friends through buying their vinyl and stuff. So you know, I know that goes directly into, you know, their pockets. So it's like, I hope that, you know, buying a shirt or, you know, a record or whatever it might take to support them in that way. So
it does, dude. It helps us buy more shirts. Yeah. Because honestly, like, we just want to play. I mean, I was serious when I said that. That's it. Like, we just want to play shows, and we want to play as much as we can. And, you know, it's weird because to have this sitting in your back pocket and not be able to do anything with it. It's like somebody just gave you paintbrushes and a canvas, and you can hold the brushes, but you can never dip them in the paint. Like, that's what it's like when you're just wanting to play a live show and you're just stifled, you know? And that's what I think, because that's really what it's all about. Like, I mean, you might be able to expand on this, Cole, because I at least had an outlet from a cover scenario. You know, what does it mean to you? Like, what is that connection to be able to play
with
live
fans?
With both for both of you? Yeah. Like,
what makes it worth it? Is that what you're saying?
No, like, what does that mean? Like when you're sitting here and you're like, dude, let's just play some shows. Like, we've had this conversation a million times. Sure. We just want to play. Like, not playing. What does that feel like? Just like to not have, you know,
stagnant water, man.
Yeah. You're just sitting still.
It's like your basement flooded and there's no like drain for it to go down. It's just, but I mean, we can cross our fingers and pray to God all we want, and we'll see what happens. But you know,
right.
Do you guys do lessons or anything? I mean, do you have like other outlets to play your instruments, or do you, or is it strictly just for the band?
So I started playing drums when I was probably, I don't know, what you think, like 10 or 12.
It evolved. I don't
Fifth
know.
Grade, whatever age that was, 10 or something. But I pretty much learned from him just from hearing, and he taught me a few things that he knew. And then once I got a little older, like middle school, I joined band. Didn't really do well at that, but then I got lessons from Daryl Whitehead, actually.
Yeah.
Super good drummer. Dude's got a pocket like nobody else. So he like taught me how to read music, and so I learned how to do that, and then kind of got out of it a little. I was getting kind of burnt out, so I kind of got out of it. But that was allowed me to like visually be able to see like kind of what something will sound like to an extent, because then I can think in my brain, like I can play it this way, but on the second verse, I can play it this way, the complete opposite, and it sound like something completely different. So it kind of gave me that ability to expand and have tools in the pocket until I can, whip those out anytime I want. So I don't think Cole ever really got any lessons.
Not necessarily. I mean,
We took you to one. We took him to a guitar lesson.
well, I was going to say, like,
and he was,
what really started me was how you just taught, you played acoustic at the time and just taught me, C, D, and G. You can pretty much play almost any pop song with that, And
He buried himself though in his bedroom. Like we got him like this $199 Epiphone. You never know if they're going to stick with it. And he learned, like, he just woodshedded. Like he would never give up. And that's what I think. Like, it's funny because when life hits you and like you're dodging all these bullets and you just think, man, how am I ever going to get through here? Like with the both of them, the thing I try to remind them both of is like, dude, if you got this good at this instrument, you can do anything else. Like that's what you set your mind to, you can do it. So clearly anything else is attainable if you want it to be, but they both basically, yeah. I mean, you had lessons with Daryl for a while.
Yeah.
Cole's pretty much self-taught, but dude, he's a sponge. Like, but they don't give lessons or anything like that. I mean, the band is their only outlet. I mean, that's kind of, and that's what sucks is when you're just sitting waiting.
Yeah, sure.
And it gets like, you get to a point like, are we even a band?
right. If we're not playing,
Like,
how
we're
are we
just,
a band?
yeah.
I don't want to be like those bands that just go in the studio and release a single and then go back in the studio and release a single and don't play live. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Well, going forward, I mean, with this new record coming out and stuff, what do you guys want to do? What was like, what's some of the things on the checklist still for this record? Do you want to tour it or do some regional stuff with that, or what?
I think we're all on the same page with that. We want to play it as much as we can,
Right.
and if we could catch a leg with somebody, we'd do it tomorrow. That's the reality. It's
just
like
finding that opportunity.
Yeah, it's just waiting for, and I say waiting because we've tried to chase it, and man, there's just no one will give you the time of day. Like I had reached out to a management company and I was excited because I actually got to talk to this agent. And I don't even know if he ever listened to anything. He's like, hey, we'll let you know if we're interested. Yeah. And meanwhile, he's got, 4 other bands that are regional that are doing well. And like, we have no reason for anybody to pick us up other than the fact saying, we like you, your music's great, we think we can do something. We're not like, we're a startup business. And let's face it, in this world, that's how they look at us. You just bought a store and you don't even have anything in the store yet. So it's like, I almost feel like if we were to generate our own following, nobody's going to give a shit about us until we don't need them to. You know what I mean? It's like one of those type of things. So whatever we can do to play is what we want to do, and that's kind of what we decided. There's still shows you just don't take because it just doesn't make sense sometimes. But in the grand scheme of things, I think we all kind of came to that idea. Look, if there's an opportunity, let's play. Like, let's not pass up that chance to at least get to play.
Right.
If
you guys could have your music featured in like a movie or TV show, what do you think? Where do you think it might fit in that? That's
a really good question. And I
think it could fit with a lot though. Like a lot of different genres.
So like if you had to name a movie though, what could you see like a song we have in the background of a movie? Probably Rocky for the win. Switch those things.
The funny thing is I was playing a song for somebody and they said, dude, I could hear this in a movie. and I'm trying to remember who it was. It was a couple days ago.
I think I might have been with you because I remember someone saying that too. Was
Yeah.
it probably Brian? I did guess.
no, I don't, no, it wasn't. I'm trying to remember. It doesn't matter, but
I think that
it'd be
stuff's
cool.
like, I mean, like we think about like, like Dazed and Confused,
Yeah.
and like how iconic, the imagery of now, like, I can't hear Aerosmith without seeing the car coming through the parking lot.
right.
It's like, it's those kind of things like where the song enhances the moment on screen so much.
Dude,
It's like,
The Matrix,
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine, when
Right.
Neo flew away at the end.
Wake up.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's 100%. There's
Sure.
definitely.
so if you can find that perfect pairing where the song elevates the movie
Yeah.
or show or whatever, it's like those things permanently, are stuck together in your mind. So it's like, it's cool that music can create that and stuff.
Absolutely. And that's the thing for us. We just want it heard. This is the weirdest thing because like we're all really good at like give us directions to do something and we'll do it. And this is the first thing in my life really, besides having kids. There's no rule book there. But this is the first thing that I've ran across that I've ever kind of felt helpless. Like it doesn't matter who you talk to. Like I have friends that work with touring bands still, and they don't have answers. Like there's no real roadmap or anything that we can follow to create the next opportunity. And that's, I think, the most difficult part is because we don't know what to do and we can't find anybody to be like, you know what you could do.
Right.
I mean, we try what we can, but it's costly.
The only thing we can say is we're never doing that again.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
And play. That's the best part.
But now I think all in all, that is the entire emphasis of our existence is just to play, like in whatever capacity that might be. We just prefer to do it more than less.
Yeah.
You know?
I got a couple questions for you guys. Some of these get kind of silly, but they're fun to think about. But it's kind of in the vein of the movies and stuff. Is there a fictional band you wish you guys could see live? Is there?
Oh man,
What's the band from?
I know exactly what
Wild
you're gonna
Hogs. Dave. Wow, what's his Dave's band or something? Oh man, I'm trying to think of the name of the band.
Dude
It's-
from Wedding Crasher?
No,
Wedding
he's
Crasher
in
band?
like so many. This band stars in like a lot of movies, but they do a cover.
Oh yeah, the Dan Band.
Yeah.
They are live. They were at
Oh,
Pops.
really?
Yeah, they've actually toured.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
that's
that.
cool.
That's what I was gonna say.
Those guys are from Wedding Crashers and stuff.
Yeah.
I fucking
He
need
drops
you
the
more.
F-bomb and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think they did a candy shop for Starsky and Hutch,
Yep.
which I thought was really funny. Like,
Yeah.
playing like a bar mitzvah and playing.
Candy shop. It's awesome.
But
I would say the real band would be the band with Spider in it.
Oh, from High School
From
Rock.
School of Rock.
School of Rock.
Yeah.
What is it? No Vacancy.
Yeah,
That's
no
the band.
vacancy.
Yeah,
That's a good one too.
they're now called Vacancy.
yeah, that's a great movie for sure.
Mm.
Is there what's a song that always gets stuck in your head, or maybe most recently stuck in your head?
Man,
I have so many, I forget most of them.
Oh, I was literally just singing this. Listen to your heart. Listen to your heart.
Oh, yeah,
Don't
from-
ask me why, but
from Heart.
yeah, I just belted it.
It's a beautiful thing that songs can create those earworms. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, like I believe it's because your brain, like if you hear a part of a song, it's because your brain formalizes it as an
An
undone
unfinished task.
Right. Yeah. So It's
Interesting.
just like gonna bug you the rest of the day about it. But it's fascinating.
Yeah, I've had Steelers Wheel stuck in the middle with you just because I was playing it the other day, and I like the bass line to that.
That's a catchy
So,
one.
yeah, that's always. I'll catch myself humming that.
Yeah, you got one.
I honestly can't even think of.
You didn't wake up humming anything this morning?
No, for once, I don't think I did. I've been so tired lately.
Yeah.
Just been zoning out.
Yeah. What about the? You guys got to do some cool stuff already, like we've talked about. But is there a dream duet or collaboration is for the band? Is there somebody you guys would love to team up with or do a show with or anything like that?
I think it'd be really cool to play with Rival Sons, just because I started listening to them when they came out with like their second record, I think. But I fell in love with all their music, and that's what got me to actually want to sing in the first place. Was like, oh, like you can actually feel expression when you're singing. Like it was a whole different outlet to me, and that's what kind of pushed me to do that. So I really appreciate all their work, and that would be a dream if that were to happen for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
They actually played Delmar Hall. You guys did after Rival Sons. And so, you can write your name on the wall back there by the dressing room. And now it says Rival Sons, and right next to it says Mister Malone. Nice. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with him. Like there's a lot of bands that I'd like to play with, but I feel like I'd love to play with Rival Sons. I'd love to play with Tyler Bryant too. I think those guys have such a great energy.
Mm-hmm.
But Rival Sons was one of those bands too that kind of brought me back to listen, to be a listener again, to be involved. Like I love going to shows, but they've priced themselves out of the market, and you're also, 30 million rows up, and you don't feel like you're part of the show, and when I saw them at the Cannery, it just kind of wrote me in. So
yeah,
I was turning them on. We probably seen them 5 or 6 times, but I just have a lot of respect for the fact that those dudes don't give up. Like they were at it for a long time before they even got any notoriety.
Sure.
And I mean, we walked into Delmar Hall when they were playing, and we got to stand 2 feet from the stage.
Yeah.
And then to be able to watch them grow and to be able to share a stage with a band like that.
I was watching them like in like a half filled room at like Rose Music Hall in Columbia. Yeah. And then they were doing, that was like one of their off dates. And the next night they were playing with Sammy Hagar at the amphitheater. So I'm like,
yeah,
how does that make any sense?
We had that happen too.
It's like,
we're in Kansas City and there was nobody in the room.
Right.
I bet there was 50 people. And I was like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which really puts a spotlight on what we're talking about, right? If a band like that was struggling, now this was during COVID, like you had to have proof of vaccination and everything to get into the show. But yeah, there was nobody there, and I was disappointed and happy at the same time because, we're like, okay, this is really intimate.
It's a private concert just for us.
Sure. But the other band that I think that I would like to play with, honestly, too, is Blackberry Smoke.
Hell yeah.
Like they're a band that I think Charlie is like one of the greatest musicians on the planet.
Yeah.
That dude always sounds stellar. He's just flawless.
Yeah.
Like, and that's impressive to me. I just feel like they'd be, it's not about the music either. These are bands that I feel like these are dudes I'd want to have a beer with.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
I was going to say, right.
And I think that's important. Like I want to play with dudes who you also respect and enjoy their company. I know that's probably a far-fetched idea a lot of times, but at least I get to do it in this band with these two guys. So I'm already on my way.
Yeah. All right. I got,
what about you, Devin? Who would you play with?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking. I like more of the grungy stuff though, and most of the at least the ideal
Living
ones
or
aren't.
Dead.
Living or Dead,
yeah,
probably Nirvana, Foo Fighters, probably Incubus too. Like all those kind of head knockers are always great for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you guys ever? Would you ever do like? I always think of like Nirvana's Unplugged, that MTV.
Yeah, like an acoustic version.
Would you guys ever do like an acoustic set?
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. I think it'd be fun.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I like hearing songs stripped down.
Right.
And we're fortunate too. Like all three of us sing, so that helps. So you can bring a song down and there's some harmonies there. Like it's just not completely naked and vulnerable unless it needs to be.
Yeah.
That
Alice in Chains one is like the one that really always gets me. Like it's really special that recording that they did. And it's like, I mean, but all those like, were really cool and special, but I don't know. I really resonate to the Alice in Chains one.
They watched that so many times too.
Yeah, it was the Alice in Chains one and the STP one.
Yeah,
were like my top two.
And then I got this Cornell live in Sweden acoustic, and it's like unreal. Like that dude.
I liked Chris Cornell better as a individual musician, and I'm might get shot for this, than with Soundgarden.
Yeah.
You know, there was a single that he had, and it was back out in like 90, well, it might be like 98, 99. And I don't even remember the name of the song. It's escaping me, but it was just incredibly melodic. It's like, man, that's super cool. Like I love this. Keep doing that.
I like the way he's able to interpret songs too. Like he did like Led Zeppelin's "Thank You" and stuff like that. Like I mean, like in maybe that's not like a super derivative of the original, but it's still like his own spin on it. And so I think as far as like going into the conversation earlier about covers and things, like I think like when somebody can do their own twist on a cover makes it make it their own is a really cool thing too.
I've started to look at covers like I feel like if you're going to play covers, that's what you should be doing. Right. My dad grew up in an era where you didn't play it like the record. You did your own version. And I grew up in an era, if you didn't play it like the record, then you were a hack. And now I'm hearing all these people again take these liberties. And, that's what does make covers boring, is because you're playing the same thing constantly. But you hear these people go ahead and like, okay, we're going to do a different arrangement. And I think that's so cool. Like, go ahead
and pull it off.
I think yeah, exactly. Right. I don't think playing your own version. I think that's just, it makes sense. That's what the artist would want to hear anyway. Like, what are you going to do with this? Some friends of mine have a band. Actually, they're playing tonight, and they take like songs and they'll switch arrangements up, but then they'll take different lyrics and put those to it. All great musicians, Joe Meyer, Ethan Jones, and my buddy Will Pelly, and all great in their own right. And actually I was at one of their shows. I went to a Disturbed concert and we went there afterwards, and I watched this moment happen between Will and Ethan. They both at the same time just played like this 8-note run. And I saw them meet eyes and both laugh. In that 5 seconds of time was the whole night. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you live for as a musician, is when you connect on stage with the other guys in your band. And when you're playing covers exactly like the record, that just doesn't really happen. Yeah. Like, you're like, hey, we're super tight tonight. But you never go, dude, we just did that. That worked out. There's no risk there. So, yeah, I think if you're going to play them, make them yours. Yeah. 100%.
I agree. Yeah. I think that's the kind of the fun of like, when those moments happen at jam too, like when you guys are just goofing at practice and you're like, wait, what was that? Do that again. Or those
and you can never remember what you did.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. What'd you just play? Oh, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how that happened.
But yeah, then you spend the whole time trying to recreate that moment. It's like, we were something there. We need to find that again. So,
so like even just what you just explained, that was like our first record. That's what it was. We would just like play random riffs or whatever and be like, oh, that worked together. Let's like kind of make a song out of that. Right. So it was just like building just random songs. And then I guess learning how to do that was kind of captured in the album. So then writing this new one, it's like, okay, we kind of know what we're doing this time. Yeah. We have intent with this. So it kind of goes back to polishing it up.
Having intent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Because I do believe that you guys, in the amount of time between their first album and this one, they grew so much on every level.
Right.
And I think you hear that in the music for sure.
Yeah. Well, you can hear it everywhere you get your digital music at on May 9th. And coming to a stage near you, hopefully real soon.
Yeah, it'll be in all Street Side Records, Camelot Records, and Sam Goody Records.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, those don't exist anymore.
do you guys plan to do any kind of physicals, or is this...
we do? So we actually have CDs. People still buy them. Right. We're in Chicago, and this guy's like, dude, I just want you to sign them. I like physical. I like something, but we're gonna press some vinyl from Custom Built, and we'll have CDs for that too. Right. But I think there's something nice about like we have records. Like I like something tangible, Well,
like I said, if nothing else, I feel less guilty about spinning it on Spotify. that I did purchase a copy of it. It's
Yeah.
like,
And and I think that's admirable, and we dig it. I'm sure every artist does, and maybe at some point it'll mean more. But at this point, it's like we're not even asking for money. Like we just want it to be heard.
Yeah.
I think it's more important to us that people hear it, and then everything will follow if
Right.
it's supposed to. But like I think that's also maybe the frustrating part, right? It doesn't cost you anything. You can hear it for free.
yeah,
For God's sakes.
Sure.
Sure. So that's the crazy part.
yeah.
Man.
Well, hopefully we'll get some physicals printed up and have those at shows soon. And
Yeah.
so come out and support, and you can see these guys live at Old Rock House, St. Louis, Missouri, on May 15th, Thursday night, with Steepwater Band and everything else at MrMaloneMusic.com.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys doing this. It's been a ton of fun.
We appreciate
Yeah.
you having this platform and giving us the time, man.
Yes, sir.
It means
it
a
was
lot.
cool.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah. Next time we'll break out some acoustics and
There you go.
do something like that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Down.
We'll have intent next time.
All right.
Right. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.